Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So makeup to me is all about illusions, and today we're going to talk about one of my favorite illusions that makeup can create. Alright, so let's begin. So I have some base makeup on, I have some lipstick on, and I've obviously filled in my eyebrows. I've lined them up, and now I'm ready to do my eye makeup. So I'm going to take you through the whole process and step by step tell you what all things you need to do so that your eyes look more bigger and more opened up. Okay, so the first step is obviously to moisturize the area around your eyes. Do not forget the lids, do not forget the under eye area. Nicely moisturize it because we are going to conceal it and you don't want any dry patches to show. So the first step is to moisturize it, and I have obviously moisturized the area under my eyes. So I'm going to now move on to the second step, which is concealer. So for the concealer, I'm here going to use Girl Pro Conceal. You can use whatever concealer you want to use. So now I'm going to basically start concealing the area around my eye. One step to note here is that do not forget to go on the inner corners. We usually tend to forget that we also need to conceal the inner corners. This area over here is very important to conceal, so do not forget that. And obviously do not forget the outer corner also, so I'm going to go on the outer corners as well. I'm going to use my flat top brush here. You can obviously also use your fingers. Alright, so you can see that the concealing is done. Make sure you're not overdoing it and not loading your under eye area with concealer, because we do not want any strong patches to appear because it will look very unnatural and cakey. So make sure you're going with very little product. If you feel like you want to go ahead with some more, then you can build it up, and I always say that. Now without wasting a single second, I'm going to be using a setting powder. You can use a compact if you have, or you can use a loose powder. I would say that using a loose powder would help, but if you have a compact powder, it's okay, you can use a compact powder as well. So I'm going to be using MAC here, and I'll take my angular brush to just place the product underneath my eyes. Okay, so I've nicely covered the area around my eye with the product. You can see that, and now my eyes look completely flat. There is no discoloration. Now we are ready to go ahead with either eyeshadow or contouring. So I'm going to start off with contouring, and I'm going to tell you how to do that. So firstly, take your eyeshadow palette and make sure that it has some brown shade or some skin-like shade. And I'm going to take this fluffy brush to start with, and I'm going to take this shade which is darker than my skin color. It can be used as a contouring shade also. So I'm going to just pick the product, and I'm going to apply just below my brow bone. So I can feel my brow bone, and I'm going to start applying below it, and that's what you got to do. So you got to apply just below your brow bone. And first, like you can see, I'm just placing the product. Okay, so I'm just placing this brown shade. And now I'm going to start blending it. Doing this will give you an illusion of a bigger eyelid, and this is what we exactly want. I'm just lightly pulling the product out from the outer corner so that it looks nicely diffused. Make sure you're blending it very nicely so that there is no dark harsh patches. Next step is to take a slightly lighter shade than this, almost like your own skin tone. So I'm going to now take this shade. It's not my skin tone, but it's very light from the one that I've used on the crease. So you can actually take any shade that you want to, but has to be really light from the one that you've applied on the crease. So I've taken it on my fingers, and I'm just going to place it over my lid. Okay, so over here. And now I'm going to use the same brush, and I'm going to diffuse the two shades on my crease. Next up, you gotta take your highlighter or any shade that really pops up and glitters, so you know that your eyes are nicely highlighted. For that, I'm gonna take another palette and I'm gonna use this shade, which you can see is so much used. And I'm gonna take this small brush, pick it up and just apply it towards the inner corner of my eyes, so over here. So starting from the inner corners, you can see that I'm pulling it towards the center of my eyelid. Just gonna use my fingers to nicely blend it. Now this helps in opening up your eyes and making your eyes look bigger than what it is. Make sure you're blending every color into each other so that there are no harsh lines visible. Now I'm gonna take the shade that I've applied on the eyelid, which is basically this one. And I'm going to apply it on my inner corner. So this I'm going to do with my fingers. So I'm going to first pick the product up and just apply it on my inner corners. And now I'm going to highlight my inner corners using the same shade that I've used on the center of my lid. And now we're going to go on the lower lash line, and for that I'm going to use this small brush again, and I'm going to pick up the same shade that I've used over my crease, which is the brown shade, and I'm going to go on my lower lash line. So you can see that I've connected it with the eyeshadow, and now we're gonna move on to the kajal. So for the kajal, I'm gonna use the one by Nykaa, and you can see the name in the description box. And for the kajal, I'm not going in on the waterline, so make sure you're not going in with the black kajal on the waterline. Instead, go on your lash line. So you can see what I'm doing, just going on my lash line. Just like this, and you don't really need to completely cover your lower lash line. Just gonna smudge it. And now I'm going to tell you one super interesting part. So use a white kajal or a nude kajal if you have, because that will add up to the entire eye look and make your eyes look really bigger. So I'm going to here use white kajal by Wet n Wild, and I'm going to go on my waterline, the lower waterline. So what this does is basically blend in with the white part of your eye and give an illusion of a bigger eye, because you know that we've lined the black kajal on the lash line and not on the waterline. So waterline actually gets blended in with the white part and your eyes look even bigger. I'm just going to do an eyeliner with my eyeshadow. You can obviously do the same thing with a liquid liner or a pencil liner as well. For the liner, I really want to say one thing, that please do not focus on the eyelid. Make sure that your liner is close to the outer corner and your wing is as stretched out as possible. Make sure you're not putting a lot of product over the eyelid and close to the inner corners. Just leave that space as it is and focus on the outer corner like I'm doing. So you can see that I've not touched the inner part of my eye at all with my eyeliner, and that's what you gotta do. And now we're gonna move on to curling our eyelashes, which is again a very important part before the mascara, as it will give you more fuller and more voluminous lashes. Okay, so one more very important step is remaining, and you got to do that. You cannot forget that. Pick up that highlighter shade, and I'm just gonna highlight the area under my brow bone. So just highlighting my brow bone. Alright, so this is the entire eye, and I'm sure you can tell the difference between the two eyes, and which is why I've not done this eye simultaneously, and now I'm gonna do this one and show you. And while my wings look completely faded, if you want, you can go ahead with a very bright dark wing liner like the conventional one, but make sure you're not going over the lid like I've done. Just go on the outer corners, make like a half wing, but complete it till the center of your lid, and you're good to go. And if you have false eyelashes, and if you can apply false eyelashes, that is just cherry on the top, so you can do that. Alright guys, so this was it for the video. If you like this one, do not forget to hit like, comment below and subscribe to my channel. Also hit that notification bell icon next to the subscribe button so that you know whenever I upload a video. And please do not forget to subscribe because I'm so close to 300 subscribers.